Welcome to A Women's Brew, where women talk about beer. Today, we revisit a familiar face, but through new lenses with 3 flagship variations. I'm Joanne, and this is Tori.
Hello, hello.
And we're 2 beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us. I mean, we got 3 flagship variations, and it took me 3 times to get that sentence out. So I feel like we're doing
Third
things
time's
in
the
threes.
charm.
We're doing
That's
things
it.
in threes.
It's third time's the charm all around. This is exciting. Now we're gonna have to. And oh my god! And this is our 3rd Thornbridge based episode.
Look at that.
So
it's
we
all in
are
threes.
doing things in threes. And
The
I
power
think,
of 3.
yeah, like honestly, we did it.
I am rewatching Charmed right now, so
The power of 3. Fantastic. It's
the power of 3 will set our taste buds free.
I was gonna say it, and then I was like, no, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. Yeah, I feel like it's all aligning. The stars are aligning. The planets are aligning.
3 stars. 3 stars are aligning. But hopefully these beers are 5 stars. Ooh.
Oh,
We're gonna find out.
I like the way you twisted that.
Do you like it? What are we talking about, listeners? So you may remember we did an episode on Jaipur as one of our bucket list beers from Thornbridge. Because it is Thornbridge's Jaipur anniversary, they brought out
Jaipur-versary.
Jaipur-versary, I like that. That's fun. They brought out some variants of Jaipur. In my hand, I have Hazy Jaipur. We are also gonna. What else are we gonna drink?
We've got the pink grapefruit. We've got Jaipur Faith, which is the Northern Monk collab.
Yes.
I thought we'll get into it because we've already done like the history of Jaipur. We'll give you a high level in a minute, but like because we already kind of did like what's the history of Jaipur and Thornbridge, and I came up with some amazing fake facts on the union system episode about Thornbridge. It's like I couldn't really do that. I was like, oh, what are we going to talk about for this episode? So we thought we'd kind of talk about hazy beers in general.
Yeah.
And then we'd just talk about some hot takes that people might have across a few different topics. We'll ask them, have some conversation about some interesting conversation points, really. So this one's a mix, I think, of like a bit of factual, because we'll kind of go like, here's the recap if you didn't want to go back and listen to our Jaipur episode. Here's the new variations. Let's talk tasting notes, but it's also just a bit like conversational fun.
Yeah.
So it's a big mix of everything we love, I think, really.
Yeah. And hopefully some fun beers, so that you can go and try yourselves. Should we crack open this Jaipur? So we've got a regular one, so that we can use that as our baseline.
It's funny because I think the first time on the Jaipur episode, you had a can, I had the bottle.
Yeah.
And then now this time I've got the can and you've got the bottle.
Yeah.
Listen to that ASMR. Don't look at my glassware though, it's gross.
Brilliant.
It's not the best. Oh, I'm gonna look at that.
Oh dear. Oh, you
look,
don't.
I'm covering, but I'm censoring it, but you can see some of it.
I just cleaned all of mine, so mine look nice. Okay, so
it's fresh and smell it.
If you want to get like deep into Jaipur, go and check out the episode. But let me give you a little potted history of Thornbridge, Jaipur, and we'll give you some tasting notes for regular.
Marisota, though.
That's on the list. So, Thornbridge was founded in 2005 at Thornbridge Hall in Derbyshire. It's the brainchild of Jim Harrison and Simon Webster. They started on a 10-barrel brewery on the Thornbridge Hall estate. And Jaipur was one of their first beers. It was inspired by American IPAs, which were still relatively niche in the UK in the mid-2000s. And the beer, they wanted something that would bring bold hop character to the UK market. The ingredients in regular Jaipur are, as Tori pointed out, Marisota malt. And then a lot of those lovely American sea hops. So there's Chinook, Centennial, Columbus, Cascade, Anatum, and Simcoe. So that brings distinctive flavours of pine and citrus, balanced by biscuity British malt. So there you go. That's what Jaipur is. This is what we've got in our glasses now. It is looking beautiful. It's smelling great.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of pine off of mine today.
I was going to say the bitterness is hitting harder today than it did the last time out of the... I don't know if it's... Obviously, it's not bottle versus can if you're having the same. I don't know if it's just changes in weather and temperature and mood.
It's quite warm at the moment. Maybe that's why.
I mean, my can is cold as well, but I just feel like I'm definitely getting more bitterness out of this than out of the last one, to be fair.
Yeah, it's piney. So this is an American IPA. It should have a dominant hop profile. It should be bitter and it is often citrusy. It should be balanced with just enough malt to avoid being thin or one-dimensional. And it should have a clean fermentation profile that allows the hops to shine, which I think is true.
I think it's not... I don't feel like this is what I normally think of, like, clean. I think this is a little bit more than what I would picture, but it's not.
If you think about... So think about this. So clean is clean fermentation profile rather than clean beer. Because I think when you think of clean beer, you think of a lager, right?
Sometimes, usually.
You know, this other stuff. So clean fermentation, like, compare it to, like, a Hefeweizen, where you're getting all of that, like, the fruitiness and the spiciness. Like, this should be, you're smelling hops rather than you're smelling yeast.
Yeah, that does check out then.
Yeah.
I think my brain went more to, like, the taste part of it more than the smell, and that's what threw me off. But yeah, no, I would agree with that.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to compare this first to Hazy Jaipur.
Got mine in my little cool bag.
You want to crack it first, or do you want to hear the BJCP style guidelines for Hazy?
Let's go through it. Wow, I crack.
Okay. All right. So interestingly, and I mean we've said this before. I think we've looked at Hazy IPAs before, but it wasn't until the 2021 update of the BJCP style guidelines that Hazy IPAs actually entered the chat.
Ooh, look at that! Look at that! This glass is clean.
It was on there as kind of a provisional style under New England IPA for a while, because obviously New England IPAs were popular, and so people wanted to put them into competitions. But it wasn't in the official sections. Oh no, I've got a dirty glass.
Uno reverse card.
Now, mine's not very hazy. Should I
Mine
roll
is
it
hazed.
first?
No, I didn't roll mine. Mine's hazy. I wouldn't say it's massively hazy, but it's hazed. I can't see my fingers clearly through the other side.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's not even a case of I go, oh, I see them and they're a little bit distorted. It's like I can only just about see them through the other side.
Okay.
That's how I measured my haziness.
Mine's a bit...
Very scientific.
Look, mine's quite clear, look.
Can I see? Yeah, I was going to say, compared to mine...
clearer than yours, yeah. I have just chopped mine up and I gave it a bit of a swirl and it's a little bit more hazy now.
I'm like now wondering, am I miss...
No, I think it's just me.
I'm like, is mine just foggy glass and mine's the same as yours? I don't know, I can't tell. But I think mine's hazed enough that I'd call it hazed.
I'm smelling it and I feel like I'm getting more fruitiness from this.
I get melon. Like from the second I cracked it, it was very like melon. I wonder if they use pure melons. Let's see.
I'm going to taste it.
Yeah, I should probably do that. That would be helpful.
Mm.
I want to know what hops are in this. Tell me. It won't tell me. There's Japanese writing. I can't read it, but I know that it's Japanese. No, there's nothing about the hops on it.
It's definitely more. Would you get fruity. Melon? Yeah, it's more fruity than piney, which is what I get from the regular Jaipur. So it says on the can, Hazy Jaipur, formerly known as DDH Jaipur, uses the same quality ingredients as our flagship beer Jaipur. I can't say flagship today. Which sets it apart is the double dry hopping, which creates a vibrant, radiant haze and gives it an irresistibly inviting appearance. The soft, pillowy mouthfeel perfectly complements the bold, punchy flavours, which deliver a burst of tropical notes with juicy mango and pineapple at the forefront. Oh yeah, no, it does say on here. Chinook Centennial, Antonum Simcoe, Columbus Cascade. To the same.
Yeah, it did. It did. I
So
just
because it's double dry hopped.
I love a double dry hop beer.
If you're new around here, listeners,
love them.
DDH stands for double dry hopped.
Or dude, definitely hoppy.
Sure, if that's what you want to say. It definitely makes it more tropical.
I definitely like what it says about the pineapple and the mangoes. Like, I just feel like the melon is what but I don't know if it's because the first aroma that I picked up on instantly was melon, and then tasting it I was like, yeah, also tastes like melon, but I don't know if it's because the aroma was already in my head that's what I was looking for. I get a bit of mango, but like I don't think I get pineapple per se, but like mango I could argue a bit of that, but it's really lovely. I
like it.
I prefer this to the normal Jaipur. Like, I don't dislike the normal Jaipur, but I would say I actually prefer this, but I love a double Jaipur. I love a definitely hopped beer.
All right, so I have for you the star guidelines for Hazy IPA.
Amazing.
I have why beers are hazy, or how beers get hazy, and then I've got some haze busting myths for you, or some myths about. We're going to bust some myths about haziness. There we go. That's a better.
Can I say something borderline inappropriate that I learned the other day?
Yes.
This is nothing to do with beer, but I listened to another podcast called This Paranormal Life.
Yeah.
And they were talking something to do with Ghostbusters, and they were talking about the theme song from Ghostbusters. Yes. And in the theme song from Ghostbusters, several times they repeated, actually, it says, Bustin' makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Didn't know that. Didn't know that.
Didn't know that.
I'd never heard them say bustin' makes me feel good. Yeah. And you can actually put, I don't know if they sell these shirts or they're sold somewhere, but you can get a shirt that says bustin' makes me feel good. And I'm like, that's the greatest. That was the gift that kept on giving. Yeah. Ghostbusting makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Every night and every day or whatever it was. And it just says over and over again, bustin' makes me feel good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know that it said this in the song? Yeah. Am I the only one that didn't know that?
Yeah, I did know it said that. Have you never sung along to the song?
Yeah, but I only know the normal part that everyone knows of Ghostbusters. I don't know. Bustin' makes me feel good. I don't know. That's my contribution to this. That podcast taught me was I was like, oh my god, I didn't know that, and I found it very funny. So now I feel like you're like we're busting myths, and I'm like, busting makes me feel good. Let's go.
Busting makes me feel good. Let's do it.
Busting makes me feel good. Let's do it.
All right, we're going to put our nerd glasses on.
Oh, hold on. Got them next to me.
Got your nerd glasses?
Yeah.
Excellent.
They're blue light sexy glasses, I think, actually, arguably.
Slightly little glasses. We love them.
Busting makes me feel good.
So, Hazy IPA is number 21C in category 21 IPA. American IPA is 21A. Hazy IPA is 21C. So our overall impression is an American IPA with intense fruit flavours and aromas, a soft body, smooth mouthfeel, and often opaque with substantial haze. Less perceived bitterness than traditional IPAs, but always massively hop forward. In appearance, colour ranging from straw to very light amber, sometimes with an orange hue. Hazy, often opaque. Clarity should not be cloudy or murky. The opacity can add a shine to the beer and make the colour seem darker. Any visible floating hot matter, yeast, clumps, or other particulates are a fault. Medium to rocky, meringue-like white head with high to very high retention. The head's gone on mine, so
I love that you're like talking and I'm just here experimenting with the two back and forth. Like, if anyone's watching this video, it's me just kind of like oh, let's try this. Let's look at it in this way.
Colour.
They're about the same colour now, and actually, the haze on the hazy one slightly died down. Where actually, I feel like when I hold them next to each other, there really isn't that much of a difference in them.
Yeah,
I smell the difference.
Yeah,
but if you look at them on the screen, watch the video, same.
Yeah. Aroma, intense hop aroma with stone fruit, tropical fruit, citrus, or other fruity qualities, not grassy or herbal. Clean, neutral, grainy or lightly bready malt in the background, no caramel or toast. Absence of any malt character is a fault, so there should be a little bit. I mean, I think it just supports that hop aroma.
It's masked by the fruity hop aroma, I think, but it's not like... Definitely when it says like, oh, it shouldn't have like the caramel, like, it doesn't have that, but it is hard to differentiate, I think, like to pick that maltiness out from it. They are quite intertwined. Yeah.
So this is slightly different to the American IPA where it's clean fermentation. Neutral to fruity fermentation character. Esters from yeast and hops should not clash. A creamy, buttery or acidic aroma is inappropriate. Light alcohol.
It catches me every time when you say it is inappropriate.
Inappropriate.
I can sit here and say and chuckle about the phrase "Buster makes me feel good" because like that makes me laugh. Totally fine. And then you're like, this aroma inappropriate. We will not have this in this podcast establishment.
We will not. Flavor: high to very high fruity hop flavor. Same descriptors as aroma. Low to medium malt flavour, same descriptors as aroma. Low to medium high perceived bitterness, often masked by the fuller body and soft, off-dry to medium finish. The hop character in the aftertaste should not be sharp or harsh. Neutral to fruity fermentation profile, supportive of the hops. Should not be sweet, although high ester levels and lower bitterness may sometimes give that impression. Oh, we love a bit of perceived sweetness. Background alcohol flavour is optional. So the mouthfeel should be different on a hazy IPA. Should be medium to medium full bodied, medium carbonation, smooth, possibly silky. I enjoy the descriptor pillowy.
I use pillowy quite a bit.
Yeah. No harshness, light warmth optional. The beer should not have a thick, creamy, viscous mouthfeel.
I don't like the word viscous. I'm going to go out and say that. Not a fan.
Acidic twang or a raw starch texture. That sounds gross.
Raw starch?
Raw starch texture. I mean, we'll get into why that is in a minute, but yeah, we don't want any of that raw starch texture. That sounds horrible.
That sounds awful. Inappropriate.
Characteristic ingredients. Grist, like an American IPA. So grist is the malts when they are crushed, and the mix of them that you've put in your beer, but with more flaked grains and less caramel or specialty malts. American or New World hops with fruity characteristics. Neutral to estery yeast. Balanced to chloride-rich water. So water is important for your hazy IPAs. Heavily dry hopped. Partly during active fermentation, using a variety of hopping doses and temperatures to emphasize depth of hop aroma and flavor over bitterness. So hazy IPAs are actually when they're well done, they're very like the recipes are very clever. Biotransformation of hop oils during fermentation adds to the depth and fruity complexity.
I feel like this feels more like a movie episode or like a TV episode, because like we started with a Charmed reference, and then we went on to Buster Makes You Feel Good, and then when you just said it's like they could be quite clever, I was just like, clever girl. And then I was going like, and then I was like, this is becoming really cinematic. Like that's all I've got to say about that.
We didn't plan that.
We didn't. No, it was just as you said that, I was going in my brain. I was going, ooh, clever girl.
And BJCP has put comments and history. So the history, a modern craft beer style originating in the New England region of the United States as an American IPA variant. Alchemist Heady Topper is believed to be the original inspiration, as the style grew in popularity during the 2010s. The style continues to evolve, including a trend towards lower bitterness and using the style as the base for other additions. And in comments, so it is called a Hazy IPA, and that's kind of the moniker that I think the Brewers Association have gone for in their descriptions as well. Like, it's kind of, that's what they've decided to title it as, which I when they first did that, I was like, oh, that's interesting that we're going down hazy IPA rather than New England IPA. But in the comments,
it is interesting because of, I was gonna say, like, because the fact that it's like,
because of its history.
But I guess in some way they're not codependent. Like, it's not codependent on each other. Like, you can have a hazy IPA that's not a New England style, even though it naturally, the tasting profile and everything kind of about it sort of does lean towards that New England IPA style anyways. But then,
originally, when it was on the lit, but like before it was formalised, shall we say, it was down as New England IPA. So in the comments, it says, also known as New England IPA or NEPA, NEIPA, an emphasis on late hopping, especially dry hopping, with hops with tropical fruit quantities lends the juicy character for which this style is known. Heavy examples suggestive of milkshakes, creamsicles, or fruit smoothies are outside this style.
All right.
IPAs. So the PJCP,
inappropriate, unacceptable.
The PJCP is laying down the law in these comments, right? IPAs should always be drinkable. Haziness.
I do like that. Every beer should always be drinkable.
Right? Haziness comes from the interaction between polyphenols from dry hopping and proteins from starchy grains, not suspended yeast, starch haze, or other techniques. A hazy shine is desirable, not a cloudy, murky mess. Whoever wrote these comments,
you know
PJCP, they are laying down the law.
I wish that was my job, was to write stuff like that. Just like reprimand people, just to be like, unacceptable, inappropriate. We will not have this in this household.
Inappropriate. Do you want some more? I've got some more numbers. I don't have the temperature range, but
I've got a love-hate relationship with numbers. Bad with them, but love to hear them.
SRM is 3 to 7. IBUs are 25 to 60. ABV range is 6 to 9%.
Nice.
Commercial examples. Now, I thought these commercial examples were interesting. Belching Beaver, Hazers Gonna Haze. Hill Farmstead Susan, Other Half Green Diamonds Double IPA. Pint House Electric Jellyfish, Treehouse Julius, Trillium Congress Street, and Weldworks Juicy Bits. So considering it says that Alchemist Heady Topper is the origin of this style, it's not considered as a commercial example.
It's what I find interesting, and why I said, like, I get that, like, inherently, they are, like, linked, but, like, I don't feel like that's mutually exclusive, because I feel like I've seen hazies that don't necessarily fit what we all understand as a New England. But then, like, even Alchemist beer, where it's like Heady Topper is a New England, but actually what we all think of as a New England is that, like, fruit bomb.
Yeah.
Hazy boy fruit bomb, like, juicy, all that. But, like, Heady Topper's not, it's fruity, but there is such dankness and resinous elements to it, and, like, pininess to it, that it's not, I don't feel like when you have Alchemist beers, not all of them anyways, like, I think I told you before, and if I didn't tell you before, I think it might have been on an episode I recorded with Rick at some point that we released, but it might have been cut out, I don't know. I'll never know, because I'll never listen back.
Just listen to it back.
Yeah, to the point that I go, oh, you may edit that out if you want, or don't, because I won't ever know. But, like, when we went to Alchemist, and I was saying to, like, I was explaining to Rick that I was like, oh, this is, like, the first real, like, New England. It's like a Vermont IPA. It's like the first, like, New England IPA, or recognised as one of, like, the first New England IPAs. In his brain already, as a non-nerd, like, as a non-beer nerd, like, he's just like, I like beer, and I know the general styles, and I know that stuff. He knew expectation-wise what to expect of a New England. In his brain, he was like, oh, it's going to be very fruity, hazy, like, everything. And he loved the tour. And then we were having beers there, because I was like, as you do, like, it was mainly me drinking them because he was driving, so, like, he just had a few sips out of mine. And then, like, I was like, oh, do you want some? And he had a sip, and he was like, nope. Nope.
Not for
and
me.
it was one that was in support of LGBTQIA ones as well. And so he was like, it was like supporting the LGBTQIA plus community. So he was like, makes me want to drink it even more. And then like he had some of it and he's like, no. Like, and he was like, I want to. And he's like, I want to drink it. Because like I want to be able to be like, yeah, this is like, and he's like, but just no. And then I was like, but it's fine. We've already bought it. It's cool. But it was that thing of, I was like, well, I'll drink it. It's all good. But in his brain, it was going to be fruitier.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. Like it wasn't that. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. So there you go. That is the style guidelines for a hazy IPA, according to the BJCP, who are laying down the law, apparently, in this one.
They did go brutes with that. It was brutal.
Yes. But why are hazy IPAs hazy? Do you want to know the science?
Oh, hell yeah.
All right. So the core players that make a hazy IPA hazy are polyphenols and proteins. So polyphenols are natural plant compounds that are found in hops, especially in the vegetal matter and the lupulin glands. Proteins are long chain molecules from the grains used in brewing, especially high protein adjuncts like wheat, oats and spelt. So you will find in like your big hazy IPAs that they've got like a lot of wheat or a lot of oats in them. So there is an interaction. So during dry hopping, which again, listeners, if you're new here, dry hopping is when you add hops after fermentation. The hop polyphenols bind with proteins still suspended in the beer. These protein polyphenol complexes are not soluble, so they scatter light that's passing through the beer, creating the characteristic haze. This is a colloidal haze, meaning the particles are small enough to stay suspended for a long time without settling.
I love that word.
Right, colloidal
haze. That should be the name of a beer. Colloidal haze.
I bet it is. I bet there's a beer called colloidal haze somewhere.
I would love it if it wasn't hazy at all. Very clean. Like it was like
very clean West Coast.
The cleanest thing, the cleanest, clearest thing, the most like. Honestly, that would be fantastic. They're like colloidal haze. You just have to get it.
So the grains that are picked for these recipes are very important. Wheats and oats are rich in proteins and beta-glucans, which contribute to mouthfeel and haze stability. They lack the husk that barley has, so they also give a softer, fuller body that works well with the juicy hop profile. And then you want to get haze stability because, you know, you can do all this haze and then maybe it settles out because, you know, beer wants to be clear. The haze in a well-made New England is intentional and stable, not just yeast in suspension. Brewers may also use higher chloride to sulfate ratios in the water chemistry to emphasize body and roundness, which complements the haze and flavor perception. So again, very clever recipes. And the brewers are like, brewers think about all the elements of these beers anyway, but when you get a really good hazy IPA, it's because they have thought about what grains they're using, what hops they're using, when are they adding the hops, you know, what's the water like to make these really good beers.
I also like when you said haze stability, but it sounded like one word and it was like haze stability. That's another one that I feel would be like a really great name for a beer. It's like this one's just called haze stability. The worst part is like haze stability. We are doing so I say we. I'm drinking and you're telling me all these amazing scientific facts and called it, and I'm just going, that's a cool name. That would make a great beer name. But I'm like, all this amazing scientific stuff that people are going to learn. And the worst part is we can't even be like, hey world, look at this amazing educational piece because of the fact that I said busting makes you feel good so many times. And I'm like, please don't remove that because I need to know if other people heard that. Like, I need to know if it's just me that didn't hear that or if other people were already aware of that. So I'm like, please don't remove it, Joe. But also we've done so much education in here that I'm like, oh, I really hope people hear that and they don't just turn off at the first part. Like, they don't just hear like a Charmed reference or me being like clever girl and then they're like, there is nothing here, like I can't take anything, and then you've just given them so much scientific facts and they're like,
I've got one more.
Yeah, this is great.
It's not just visual. The same interactions that cause haze also help bind aromatic hop oils, locking in that intense tropical and citrus aroma. So the haze isn't just cosmetic, it's linked to the flavour and aroma retention as well. So that's why you get such beautiful, fruity hazy IPAs.
I genuinely really like this Hazy
really
Jaipur.
nice.
The flavours are just so, like, just really lovely. The pineapple's coming out more. The more I drink it, the more the pineapple is coming out. But I feel like when I go back to the normal Jaipur, like, the Marisota just gets more pronounced. And I think that it's funny because if I don't take a sip of water in between and I go hazy, and then a sip of the normal, the Marisota really comes out, like, quite strong. But also it's sort of like the bitterness comes more balanced.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I think you're right. Shall we crack another variant before I get into busting some myths?
before busting does make me feel good. Before we do that, do you want to hear some hot takes? I'll save the questions and conversations for the end, but do you want to hear some hot takes specifically on hazy IPAs? So you can drink some this time because I was drinking the whole time you were talking. Now you get a break.
I mean, I've not done a bad job, to be fair.
I was going to say, because I've just been sat here comparing them, doing scientific research, which is all going to get lost when people hear the part that comes before it. But yeah, so I was just trolling through and I saw, like, one of the posts I saw was on Reddit from 2 years ago, and it's called What's Everyone's Hottest Take in Beer? And I just thought I'd share some of that. So the first comment that was there isn't to do with hazes in particular, but it says, I appreciate that a lot of breweries are making lagers now. Most of them aren't good. And that was the hot take. And somebody responded to that, the reason why hazies comes in. I want to be very clear that I'm also going to read out the usernames because some of these are fantastic. And I need to preface that, and this is, if you have children that are around, like,
this is not
put your headphones in. It's not safe for, as if it was safe for work before. It's really not now. This is your warning. You could have skipped ahead now. So the first person to respond to that, well, one of the people to respond to that was called Left-Handed Fapper, which I was like, great, cool.
Just that name.
No further questions. Don't worry about it. Left-Handed Fapper said, fuck, that's a fact. Too much going on with most. Some of them feel like hazy IPA lights. And I thought that was interesting because they were like, oh yeah, these lagers that are making very not good lagers. And they're like, yeah, they're like hazy IPA lights. And I just thought, yeah, that is kind of a hot take. Not two things that I would put together traditionally. So, yes, there's that one. Free_slice said NEPA/hazy IPAs should be called something other than IPA because it is pretty far removed from OG West Coast IPAs, and then people complain about too many IPAs even when they're all vastly different. Also, if you think all IPAs taste the same, then you really need to have a flight of them together or something. So that one I thought was I don't disagree with that last point about.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that actually.
About all of them. I don't know if that's really a hot take.
I mean, I guess it is.
The hot take is the first part of I don't think New England IPA/hazy should be called an IPA. They should be called something else. I don't agree with that. It's the reality is they don't all taste the same. Yeah,
they don't all taste the same. So, like, if you are interested in finding out the differences, then do try them all next to each other. I mean, not all of them because that's a lot of beer, but you know, in a responsible manner, try some different ones next to each other.
We've got Fermented Radical said, and this is not all of this is related to hazies, but it made me chuckle because just all of them in collaboration. It says haze bros are soda drinkers that switch to beer. So that was the first hot take, and I was like, great. And then the rest of the comments were pastry stout drinkers just want to liquefy their candles so they can get diabetes faster, and kettle sour drinkers stopped maturing at age 14 and looking for the ecto cooler of their dreams. To which somebody responded, actually, these are the 3 most popular takes in the beer community. I was like, I think a lot of these people were from the US, like based on what I could find. So I was like, that's fantastic.
I like a kettle sour. Thank you very much.
I do. I like all of those things, and I don't want to liquefy a candle. Some candles I do. It depends on the candle.
It depends on how great.
If I've got like a pumpkin coffee or something like that. I'm like,
Mate, I picked up some pumpkin spice wax melts the other day, and they are.
I've got a whole thing of pumpkin spice wax melts because when Sainsbury's was like, "Oh, it's September, Halloween's over," they like put them on offer, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll buy them." It's like it wasn't even October yet, and I was like, "Yeah, that's cool, I'll buy them." This is not about pumpkins. This is hazies.
We'll save that for another day.
Yeah, save that for another day. Might be Will Smith said, the super hazy beers that straight up taste like juice are a blight to beer.
Oh.
And I was like, that's a hot take. There's no further context. Potentially Will Smith has said something and then not qualified it with anything. So potentially not as well. We don't know. So there was that one. And then Vivalination 734 said the haze craze should have ended 3 years ago. And I was like, I mean, I feel like that one's not, well, I don't agree with it. I don't feel like that one is massively unpopular.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was that. And then there was another article I found, which was hot takes on IPA beer. So the post itself, it's quite short. So it says, I believe no one truly enjoys India Pale Ale IPA. It's extremely bitter, non-refreshing beer that gained popularity in the 90s, seemingly as a symbol of masculinity. Over time, IPAs became even hoppier, intensifying their bitter aftertaste. If you watch someone drink one, they rarely show enjoyment or refreshment, just a bravado-fueled display of masculinity. And I was like, oh, I will tell you, it has 0 upvotes.
It does.
There is 0 upvotes. And like, the feminist in me is like, I respect that you're calling out, that you're like, the bitterness seems like just a symbol of masculinity. The IBU race. But then I'm like, save that for talking about just beers that have an aggressive IBU or like even an aggressive ABV. When people say, there was another take that like, so I was going through these hot takes and I was like, actually, we can make a whole separate thing that is just dedicated to IPAs in general, not specifically hazies or Americans or anything like that. And like one of the comments were like, I feel like triple IPAs are just proving how manly you are or something like that. And I was like, yeah, they're like, it doesn't even, it's just aggressively like alcoholic. So everyone's like, yeah, I love it, but no, secretly no one does. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So that aligned kind of with that thought process. But the reason why I put it on the hot takes is it was sort of conversation starting, but I thought that post in itself was interesting. We can share the link to it. But this was quite recent, actually. This only came out 6 months ago. And one of the comments that someone had posted, someone called Silly Strangs, which appreciated that name, it said, got me off whiskey and most likely extended my life. My whiskey drinking was not sustainable. I'm now toying with the idea of giving it all up, but IPA is pretty much the only style I consume. I find most to be delicious, particularly hazy / New England style. I will say that its trend or popularity has been interesting to observe. When I first started drinking them, it was almost like an underground community, but now every bar / brewery has like 5 options. I would assume this is due to high alcohol content. But that's what I thought was interesting, was I was like, well, that's an interesting statement to make, because I don't know if I ever found that like hazy IPAs were an underground community, and I don't know if I think that they're only popular due to high alcohol content. Like, I think if you're talking about dippers and tippers, that piece, but like just New England in general, I'm like, well, actually, they're not, like, I don't view them as being that much.
I mean, I suppose when they very first came out and people were like first drinking them compared to, you know, an American IPA that was clean and clear, and, you know, then I think there probably definitely were people that were like, what is this? And I think there's always that really good anecdote, isn't there, where someone goes to a brewery in California and goes, can I have an IPA? And they give them a West Coast and they drink it and they spit it out and they're like, why is this so bitter? Because they're just used to, you know, a New England, and they've just asked for an IPA and they don't realise that difference. Like, you know, I think possibly when they first started, they may have been.
Yeah, that is an interesting one, because it doesn't say how old this poster is. It doesn't say like anything about it other than just when I first started drinking them, which is not really a frame of reference. So, and I didn't dig through their profile to be like, oh, let me do some deep-seated research or anything like that. But I thought that was interesting, because I was just like, oh, that, to me, that is an interesting take in itself that is like, are they popular because of the high alcohol content? But you're right, there is so much variation there. But there was actually something that I've saved for a proper like overall IPA episode that had to do with West Coast related IPAs and hot takes. So save it, watch this space.
We'll save that.
Right, I'll save the question part of it for the end if we've got time. Let's crack another one.
So our next one is Pink Grapefruit Jaipur. I'm quite excited about this one.
I am mixed emotions because sometimes I feel like it depends on the blend of the flavors. Sometimes I don't love how heavy grapefruit there can be, but I don't know, maybe pink grapefruit, which we'll talk about tasting notes of pink grapefruit, but I don't know, mixed emotions.
So on the can, before we pour it, our flagship IPA Jaipur already brings a vibrant grapefruit character from its 6 hop blend, but we wanted to take that citrus intensity a step further by adding pink grapefruit. We're amplifying the fresh, zesty profile to create an even bolder experience. This enhancement brings a new layer of bright, tangy sweetness that perfectly complements the beer's natural hop bitterness, resulting in a refreshingly balanced and fruit-forward IPA that is bursting with character. They reckon on the nose, pink grapefruit and lemon.
Be interesting.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's a very grapefruity smell right out the can.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you say pink grapefruit, like I want it to be sweet, but it does just smell like it's got that grapefruit like bitterness.
Tang.
Yeah, that's the right one.
Almost a bit of guava.
Yeah, and I do feel, and this is what I'm torn about. Is you've got the farty guava smells, and like with guava, like I don't.
It's been a long time since you've talked about
the farty guava smells. I think with like guava flavor profiles, while the aroma's not the most pleasing to me personally, like I don't mind the taste of it, and I do feel like similar with grapefruit because I think like the aromas aren't miles apart, and I think maybe that's why I don't like it. And I'm never blown away because I feel like when I have beers that advertise grapefruit, it's never like a particularly bold flavored beer that leaves a lasting impression on me, so I'm always a bit like, yeah, it's fine. And so I think that's why when I see like pink grapefruit, I'm like, maybe because it's pink grapefruit it's a bit different, but I don't know, let's see. It's giving me guava vibes as well, so no, it's very grapefruit now that I've like topped it up.
I am getting that zestiness that they were talking about.
Yeah, agree. Not lemon, like I don't, it's very, for me it's very grapefruit.
Yeah. I don't know, there's a little bit of like sharp lemon. Like, you know, like if you drink lemon juice.
It's hard because I feel like I'm huffing it hard now and all I'm getting is grapefruit.
Don't huff it.
I'm like one step away from getting it up my nose.
Tasting it. Cheers.
It's definitely grapefruity. It's like, for me, first sip, I've only had one sip. So obviously we know it develops the more sips you have. But based on one sip alone, it gives me like shandy vibes. But if you replaced like the lemonade with a splash of grapefruit juice.
It's quite floral as well.
It's very dry. I feel like it's got that like quite a dryness to it.
It's 5.9%, you know.
Is it? Oh, I mean, it doesn't taste like 5. I mean, the other one, the Jaipur Hazy, the Hazy Jaipur was 5.9 as well. I mean, all of them are 5.9%.
5.9.
Ooh, I just looked over and I was like, all of them are.
All of them are
Wild. I don't dislike it. It's not. I think I like the hazy more because I like fruity. Like I lean towards. It's not a mystery. I lean towards like New England IPAs, like fruity New England IPAs, hazy boys. But I also like black IPAs and stuff. I don't tend to lean towards West Coast. I I like a good West Coast, but that's not the direction I gravitate towards per se. And I think this one, I don't normally love the taste of grapefruit in general. Like, some people will just drink grapefruit juice.
Yeah.
Not for me.
No.
Do not like. And so I think this is drinkable for having grapefruit in it. It's not... If you don't like grapefruit juice, you won't dislike this per se. It's just that my preferences lean towards the hazy, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I think it's very warm here in Kent today, so this is very refreshing. I think on a very hot day, this would be very refreshing. Flavour wise, I prefer the Hazy Jaipur because I really like that melon and the bit of mango. That's not to say anything against this. It is very nice.
It very much gives me, even after a few sips now, it very much gives me Radler shandy vibes. And I think if you love like the grapefruit
Shoffer.
Yeah, shoffer. If you like that, I think you would love this because it really gives that vibe. And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't taste 5.9%.
No, it does not.
You could tell me that this was a Radler and I'd be like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, okay. Great,
but I do get what you mean about like the heat. Like, I feel like Radlers especially are like perfect in the heat. And I feel like this is probably perfect in the heat. So
yeah, I think so.
All right, now I'm excited to... While we drink this, I'm excited to
bust some myths.
Yeah, bust some myths.
Oh, before we go into myth busting, do you want to know some tasting notes for pink grapefruit?
Yes, I absolutely do.
Because I thought that'd be interesting because I don't know if I've actually tasted pink grapefruit, like from a pink grapefruit.
I feel like I've seen images of pink grapefruits, but this is it. This is why I was like
juice, right? Like I might have had it mixed in with other juices, but I don't think I've eaten a pink grapefruit.
No, and that's why my brain's like, I don't love grapefruit, so maybe pink grapefruit will be different because I like the colour pink.
So I looked us up some tasting notes for pink grapefruit.
Fantastic.
To help us out. So aroma, bright zesty citrus with a hint of tropical sweetness, like the moment you crack open the fruit and get that burst of fresh juice and pithy zest in the air. Flavour, juicy and tangy, with a balance of sweet fruit flesh and refreshing tartness. Less bitter than white grapefruit, but still carrying a subtle pithy edge. Mouthfeel. I think that's an interesting choice for
a fruit
profile.
Yeah.
Crisp, lively, and palate cleansing. Acidity gives a sparkling lift. I mean, citrus fruit.
It feels like the use of mouthfeel is very different in fruit, which was I was not expecting the descriptors you gave, and I was thinking that's a bizarre choice. And then when you gave the descriptors, I was like, oh, those descriptions, not a bizarre choice.
Yeah.
Not what I would assume under mouthfeel.
Aftertaste, lingering sweet tart citrus that can fade into a delicate floral or tropical note. We definitely get that in the beer, like a delicate floral.
Mm.
And then associations in beer, common in hop varieties like Amarillo, Galaxy and Citra, adds a refreshing fruit juice-like dimension that pairs beautifully with the soft body of Hazy IPAs. Look at that.
To be fair, the more I'm drinking this, the more I'm pleased with it. Like, the more I'm like, it's giving me the Radler vibes of like when we had the Radlers that time. I was like, oh, it is enjoyable though, isn't it?
I mean, I wasn't unpleased with it. I just prefer melon.
Yeah, again, like I said, I also wasn't unpleased with it. It just wasn't the style of flavour combinations that I normally gravitate towards. Yeah. But actually, I think it's less sharp after like a few sips in, and I was like, yeah, okay, it's still a bit like that. And then like
your palate adjusts.
A few more sips in, I'm like, okay, it's not as sharp. So it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah. All right, myth busting, because busting makes us feel good.
That's literally my favourite phrase. I use it sometimes, just for like any time it comes up, I'm like, busting makes me feel good.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I've definitely heard some people say these things. Just so you know, I'm just putting it out there. Myth number 1: it's just unfiltered beer.
I've heard that. I've 100%.
Yeah,
I've heard that.
We've heard that. The haze isn't from leftover yeast or lazy filtration. It's a stable colloid formed from protein polyphenol complexes deliberately created through recipe design and dry hopping techniques. It's clever recipe design, not laziness, people. Myth 2: the haze is a flaw. Now, I've had people say this about wheat beers.
I've not had them say it about wheat. Like, I've never heard someone say it about a wheat beer, but definitely hazy IPAs. I've literally been people like, oh yeah, that's a flaw. It's like, no.
So I was at a beer festival. It was a Canberra beer festival, so I'll preface that. I was there with a work colleague, and he had gone and got a Hefeweizen from Pig and Porter, and he sat down with it. I was like, "Oh, is that the Hefeweizen?" Like, because there was like only like 5 kegs or something of it that they'd made. So I was like, "I'm gonna go get that next." And this guy who was sitting next to us on the table was just like, "Oh, mate, that's cloudy. Like, you should take that back. That's off." And my friend like knew had drunk a fair amount of beer, but I was just like, no, it's a wheat beer, like it's supposed to be hazy. And this guy just looked at me, looked back at my male friend, and was
obviously
like, no, mate, that's like that's off, like that shouldn't look like that. And he looked to me, and I was like, no, it's a wheat beer. Like, so the wheat adds haze to it. And the guy looked at me again and back to my friend and was like, nah, take that back, mate, that's off. And I was like, it's not off, ignore
to
him.
be fair though,
this guy was just full out ignoring me, even though
I do feel like your friend should have told the other guy to shut up. Like I would have been like, you can shut it.
He was just kind of like, dude, like whatever. But yeah, this guy was like insistent that he should take it back and just completely ignored anything that I had to say.
My favourite is when we go out places, and like me and Rick go out places, and then they'll ask him like what he recommends, and he will go, I don't know, you need to ask her. I just like, he's like, whatever you want, and he's like, ask her, like she's the one that knows way more about it than I do. Yeah. And people are like, oh, and then they never ask me. They just they just go, oh, okay. And then they're like, oh, haha, funny. And then they're like, oh, well, what are you drinking then? And he's like, this, because she picked it out. Like, not that, I don't mean to paint it in a way that like he's incapable of picking it out. I was like, but like we normally share beers. So he'll be like, okay, I have no real preference. Like I might say to him, what's your preference and style? And he'll tell me a preference and style, and I'll go, okay, great. And then he'll be like, this is about you and your like, he's like, this makes you happy. I'll drink any of these things. So he'll be like, this is what I'm feeling at the moment, or I'm not feeling anything. Go wild with what you want.
Yeah.
And I'm like, great, happy dates, and I'll pick something. So like, I don't mean to paint it like he's just an idiot. He doesn't know, because he does. Like, he's learned stuff. And but like, anytime someone asks him, he's like, that's a her question. Like, or they'll be like, oh, where? Oh, is that the brewery that's from so and so? And he'll be like, I don't know. That's a question about her. Like, she'll answer that. She's the beer one. And then they normally like look at me and they're like, do you like what? Like, do you like what they're drinking? I'm like, or you could just ask me the same question. And it's not that hard to acknowledge that he's just pointed to me. Just talk to me.
My colleague at my current work,
I don't bite sometimes.
We'll be places, and he's like. And they'll be like, oh, you know, what are you drinking? Can you recommend something? And he's like, ask her. She's got a qualification in it. She knows what. She's probably the most. He'll do. She's probably the most knowledgeable beer person in this room right now. And I'm like, calm down. But what are you looking for?
I'm under no delusion that I'm the most qualified person in the room, because I'm just making it. But I'm like, you know, I've got passion. I've got heart.
Like, you know stuff.
Anyway, but it is funny. It's great. Anyway.
Haze is a flaw. In most beer styles, haze can signal a fault, like infection or oxidation. In New England IPAs, it's by design.
But in a Hefeweizen or in a New England IPA.
Or a wheat IPA, like, you know, part of the style's signature look, mouthfeel, and aroma, it is part of the style's signature look, mouthfeel, and aroma retention. Like, it needs that haze to be what it is. Myth number 3, it's thick because of sediment. That's gross.
I don't think I genuinely think there must be people that don't understand the difference between sediment and haze.
yeast.
And are they just thinking that like what when they see shit floating around in their beer, do they go, "Oh, that's hazy"?
Right.
And if it's like if it's a very clear beer and it's got like, say it's got like they made it with fruit or something and it's like relatively clear, and then there's like bits of fruit that's got into because they've hard poured it or something, and they're like, "Oh, that's a hazy one."
Right.
Wild.
So the reality is the smooth, almost creamy texture comes from high protein grains like oats and wheat and specific water chemistry, not chunky hot debris.
That's
chunky
vile.
Hop debris. Nice.
That's my pen name, I think, moving forward.
Nice.
Chunky hot debris.
Chunky hop debris. Myth number 4: clearer hazy IPAs taste better. That's a misnomer, surely. Clearer hazy IPAs. In this style, a drop in haze can indicate a drop in freshness. Loss of haze often comes with loss of hop aroma and flavour intensity, so be aware of that. Drink fresh, everybody.
This is why we were keen on getting this recorded.
We wanted to get it out.
So, this might not release for a while, but just know that we're recording it.
We drank it while they were fresh out of our fridges. And myth number 5: haze equals hop burn. Reality: hop burn, that harsh green astringent edge, comes from excessive polyphenols or hop matter, not from the haze complexes themselves. Good brewing technique gives stable haze without burn. So there you go. We busted some myths.
It did make me feel good. That was great.
Good. I'm glad.
Well, because obviously overall Jaipur's an American IPA.
Yes.
I thought I'd get some like hot takes on just American IPAs and some just conversation points on that. But like, I found it really hard to find hot takes on American IPAs, and I don't know if it's because a lot of the places I was looking, like Reddit, there's probably a lot of Americans on there, so they were like the best. America. I can say that. Just for anyone just tuning in, I can say that because I am American. But I found a really interesting post from a year ago. The user's now deleted their username, but the post is still there. And it said, why are there so few English-style IPAs on the market, or just IPAs that are primarily European rather than Cascade hops? Because I then Googled, like, okay, American versus... are there any hot takes about American IPAs versus English IPAs? And I found this, not necessarily a hot take, but so the post says, I mean, the English invented IPAs, but the original style with English hops, at least where I am in the US, is somewhat hard to come by, only produced by about 3 semi-known American microbreweries. For once, it would be nice to try an IPA that doesn't taste like licking a pine cone. So that's what I was botting on that because I thought that sounded hilarious. So I was like, that's, I think, the hot take that I took out of that. Was for once it would be nice to try an IPA that doesn't taste like licking a pine cone. I thought that was great. But it was interesting because like some of the comments there were like, well, they don't sell. That's why.
That's why they don't make them.
But it some of the comments that were there kind of came down to somebody was like talking about like in an English market there was a lot more American IPAs that were being made as opposed to like British IPAs. So I thought that was interesting that they were saying like it's interesting that like the trend is to see more American IPAs on bars as opposed to English IPAs. And let me find.
I don't think it's necessarily about the style. I think it's about flavour. So as someone that's, comes from a hop background now, the American IPA and the American hops and the new, what they refer to as New World hops, which is New Zealand and Australian hops, they just give a punchier aroma and flavour. They give you that fruitiness and that pininess and whatever. Whereas English hops, which are, the primary vehicles in an English IPA, give you much more subtle flavours. They can be, they can be earthy. They can be floral. They can be woody. And when people are drawn to these bigger flavours. So I think that's why it's about flavour rather than about beer style.
I mean, like, reading through the thread, it was really interesting because a lot of people were kind of talking sort of similar in that regard as well. But like, I thought that was interesting because of the fact that there were people saying, like, even in the UK, like when I was looking through comments and I was kind of researching off the back end of it as well, like people were saying, you know, yeah, you just don't see a lot of English IPAs anymore, even in the UK. And it kind of led me to the conversation point about, you know, why do you think American IPAs dominate tap lists in the UK? You know, is it hype? Is it flavor? Is it marketing? But I guess the question is, like, do you agree that American IPAs dominate the tap list in the UK?
Yeah.
But I guess you're right. Like with what you said, kind of touched on like why, and it's like the flavor profile is very different.
Yeah. And I think you find English IPA, you'll find in more traditional, it's going to be a real ale. It's probably going to be on cask. You know, so then you need a pub that's looking after it well. And then, you know, you've got people want thirst quenching cold, like, and as well, you've got to think about, you know, what are the trends? Like, we went through a really big phase of people wanting very clear, bright, fizzy, yellow, cold lager. And so then you are getting people, you're still getting your regular, you know, your non craft beer nerd. They're like, you know, they are still in that kind of, I want something cold and refreshing. I want something cold and tasty. Whereas your English IPA tends to be served slightly warmer on cask. It can be beautiful, but if you want something thirst quenching and cold, an English IPA is not it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I would say that I agree with the idea that American IPAs, or not necessarily American IPA, but some form of, like, whether it's West Coast, New England, or, you know, general American IPA, Vermont style, whatever. Like, I do feel like those styles do dominate our market, and beers that are being imported from the US for IPAs are also dominating the market. Like, people can't get their hands on them. Like you mentioned, like Julius, like if Julius comes over here, people are like, snatch that up.
Yeah.
And obviously, that's kind of probably for a different reason, because that's like bucket list beer or whatever. Like, we've talked about that on bucket list beers before.
I think we have moved on a little bit. Like, you know, the UK craft beer scene is very good now, and you know, so that we're not in. There are still some people who are like, you know, American beer is always superior no matter what, and will always buy American beer, imported American beer over UK beer. But you know, we're at a point where UK craft is holding its own, I think.
I agree, but I think some of it is like FOMO, because I think there's a bit of FOMO where people are like, I agree that the IPAs that we're putting out are great, whether or not it's a New England style or an English style. Like, you don't, I would agree that I just don't think you see a lot of English style IPAs.
Yeah.
But I think even then, like, it's a IPAs in general with like New England or West Coast, whatever. I think some of it is just like a FOMO of like, oh, there's this really good IPA that's come out. Yeah. I don't want to miss out on that, or like they've imported something that's meant to be like amazing. I don't want to miss out on it.
So I should definitely buy it. Yeah.
Or like, everyone's talking about this because it's almost like you feel you should be talking about that. So yeah, I found that interesting. So yeah. That's our viewpoint on that. And then the other conversation point that goes back to the Hazies was, does anyone else, so this was a post on Reddit from 3 months ago, so this is very recent. It's in our beer, and it says, does anyone else have a love/hate relationship for Hazy IPAs? And it says the pros: tastes amazing; cons: makes you tired, and then in brackets, hops are sedative, highly caloric and terrible hangovers. And then they just said, is a struggle. And the reason I shared this, because I kind of wanted your opinion on this. I had never heard that hops are a sedative. Is that a thing?
Yeah, that is actually a thing.
I was like, I need value. Like, if I'm going to ask anyone, it's you.
And highly caloric. I don't know if it comes through in beer. I don't know the scientific amount, but yeah, hops have sedative properties. Like, so they'd put, you know, when they do like those little bags of herbs and stuff that you can put under your pillow that help you sleep.
Yes.
You can put hops in that. Like,
when you were like, but those little bags of it, and I was like,
Wrong product.
Then you're like, of herbs, and I was like, yes.
And but you want the hop cones, right?
Yeah.
Because there's something in it that makes it a sedative. Like, I don't know if that sedative thing ends up in it survives. I don't know if that's a survivable compound in beer. I feel like we don't talk about it, so it probably isn't. And
That's
I feel like the sedative nature is probably the alcohol rather than the hops.
I feel like we need
also, the calories are from the alcohol and the sugars.
Yeah. To be fair, they weren't saying it was from the hop. I think they were just saying like IPAs in general. It's that. But I wonder if it's because like maybe the ones they're drinking have like, I don't know, like lots of lactose in it or something. Like what style specifically of hazy? Like, I think hazy depends on how they're. Yeah, I think it depends on what else is in that. But I would love to. It would make me feel good to bust that myth. About if hops are a sedative in the way that it would actually come through in beer. So I feel like that's something we need to watch this space. I feel like we need to investigate that.
Okay.
But anyways, should we move on to our final one?
Let's move on to the last one. Okay, so our last one is Jaipur Faith. So it's a collaboration with Northern Monk.
Sure
this one say on the can? In 2024, we teamed up with our friends at Northern Monk to create something special. An exciting collaboration that combined the best of our two flagship beers. By blending ingredients from both recipes, we created a truly remarkable brew that showcased the essence of our breweries. As part of our 20th anniversary celebrations, we invited Northern Monk for a return brew, one worthy of marking Jaipur's milestone birthday. The result is a seamless fusion of our signature styles, bursting with tropical fruit, citrus and pine. A light sweetness in the body provides perfect balance before a tantalisingly bitter finish rounds out this celebratory beer. So this one has Chinook, Columbus, Cascade, Simcoe, Centennial, and Citra in it. Apparently it would go really well with the fried chicken sandwich.
I was just about to say, hold the effing phone. Have I just missed the fact? Have we been reading out the food pairings the whole time?
There are
I was like,
food
did I miss this? This is breaking news.
Yeah.
On these cans, I don't know if you can see this in the video. On these cans, it's got like the hops, it's got everything, and then it will be like, oh, here's the hops. This is the style.
It's got what
tasting notes.
It's got the serving temperature, what it looks like, what it smells like, what it should taste like, and then it's got a food pairing.
And it took the fried chicken sando for us to be like, food pairing. Yeah, there's one on all of them because I just went back to look, going, oh wow, that's great.
Not on the bottle. The bottle hasn't got it. You got it on your
there
can?
Is on the can.
Oh, it is on the
can. On the can, it's obviously all the hops. On the eyes, it's straw. On the mouth, it's lemon zest, quaffable. On the nose, it's honey and lemongrass. And then food pairing is Thai curry.
So that's regular.
On the hazy, we have got eyes, hazy pale, nose, juicy pineapple, mouth, pomelo, tangerine, and food pairing, ceviche.
Oh.
And then on the pink grapefruit, we have got eyes, pale, nose, pink grapefruit and lemon. On the mouth, apricot and floral. And food, Thai pomelo salad. Never even heard of that. I didn't realise that was a thing. That's fine.
I'm more excited about the fried chicken sandwich.
Genuinely, took the fried chicken sando for me to go, oh shit, there's food pairings on here.
And that I can't make a fried chicken sandwich now because it's 10 o'clock at night.
I really want one. Oh, we just had had a Popeyes. We just had a Popeyes like open up near us, and I'm like,
Popeyes is great. I had some.
It's expensive. It's spendy. Worth it. Worth it. It's fresh. It's delicious. It's juicy.
It was really good.
As far as I know, I don't think it supports anything awful. So I'm here for it.
which is always the thing.
I didn't I didn't go down a rabbit hole researching hardcore. So please tell me if Popeyes isn't good. Please tell me because I don't want to buy
Chick-fil-A that we can't.
Yeah, no,
that we can't have.
Don't support Chick-fil-A.
We do not support Chick-fil-A.
To the fact that I'm like, there's been times I'm like, I want to try it to know if it's worth the hype, but I will not give them its money.
So before I knew what it was when I was on cruise ships, like we used to drink. They are good.
My mum's like, do you want to go get Chick-fil-A? I'm like, no.
It's tasty, but it's not good enough. Sorry.
Not good enough.
Can't
but
take their
someone
effort.
tell me if Popeyes is not the one.
Yeah, let us know.
Make me sad. That's beautiful. Look at that.
This one's lovely.
This one's like very hazy.
This one's hazier than hazy.
I was going to say, this is hazy, and this one's non-hazy. Yeah. Hazy and non-hazy. You can
smell that Citra in it, girl. Citra's like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah, it is a bit, and it's very like, it's. This is going to sound wild if you've not ever gone to a brew day, like had hops, or like if you don't home brew or anything like that. But I think if you're a person that has like homebrewed or gone to a brew day or been around like hops at all, when you do the like what's the word I'm looking for, when you like
rub.
Yeah, the rub and you like that smells like a freshly rubbed Citra pellet. Specifically a Citra pellet.
Yeah, she's tasty smelling. All right, cheers
as well. Cheers. It's very easy drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, very smooth. There's no... I'm going to go out on a limb and say, compared to the others, there's no really, like, bold, aggressive, obvious flavours. What I would say is it probably tastes, out of all of them, the most like the normal Jaipur, but, like, dialed up in terms of fruit over marisota.
Yes. I think it would go really well with a fried chicken sandwich.
It would go very well with a fried chicken sandwich. I wish I had one now.
Man, why didn't we see that?
Why is it a school night so I can't even order takeaway? If I had known I would have made a chicken sandwich, we would have started recording earlier. It's very drinkable, very sessionable.
It's very drinkable.
It's very, it does give me like just the Northern Monk vibes, to be honest.
Yeah, it very much reminds me of Faith.
It's very lovely. That's why we'll say. In terms of so far out of all of them, what's your fave, do you think?
Hazy.
I think at the moment it's Hazy, then Faith, then a toss up between normal and pink grapefruit, because I do think pink grapefruit has its place.
So I'm going to go Hazy, pink grapefruit, Jaipur, then Jaipur Faith.
Oh, well, there's still time. There's everything to play for. We've still got a little bit of time. It's very, very tasty. Very tasty.
Very drinkable.
Do you have anything else?
Down quick. I do not. It is all down to you.
All down to me now. Okay. Hot takes. The next hot take I have. So it comes from a post from 9 months ago. From a user called No Pollution 3210. Unfortunately, we have pollution, so that is what it is. I can't change that. But it's on r/beer. It's called Favorite IPA Collab. I'll give you the links to these. And you can put them in the show notes so people can go and rummage around themselves. It says, as the title says, wanting to see some good IPA collabs, especially anything currently available. Assuming that this is in the US. But that's obviously not the hot take. The hot take is that a user called Baggy Spandex said, this is why I'm like, I have to read the username. That's great. So Baggy Spandex said, specifically said hot take, IPA collabs just end up tasting like the host brewery's IPA. I say this as someone who's brewed quite a few collabs. I was like, I respect it.
Yeah, you're like, he's like, I've been there. I know, I have experience.
I love that person, they were like, yeah, I brew IPA. Like, I brew collabs. And guess what? All of our collabs just taste like the host breweries beer.
I mean, there's
Is it only IPAs? But like, the thing is it only the IPA? Because specifically this person had said, they were like, yeah, hot take, IPA collabs end up just tasting like the host breweries IPA. So I'm wondering, I'm gonna comment on that.
Oh, yeah, and see what you get.
I'm gonna comment on that. I'm gonna comment on that using the A Woman's Brew Reddit that I made up.
Okay.
Because I don't want to dox myself when there's me from like yesterday. Like when someone sees this and they see it like, oh, from 2 weeks ago, there's this user that posts a lot in the fucking Japan subreddit and is like, hey, wondering about this? Watch this space. So I will ask the question, but I'm going to do it.
I mean, I think
under the woman's brew.
There are elements of the house yeast and
water profile,
and your
brewing techniques.
how the kit affects it, how different a kits affect what's happening. I
think when we talked about collabs with breweries before, we've asked who came up with this, who when we've asked those questions, I think the outcome of those as well was very much like, well, sometimes it is just like the host brewery is the one that comes up with the recipe, and they're the ones that sort of like invite the other brewery to come. Like, not always, but sometimes it can be that the host brewery is like, cool, this is the recipe we're doing, what's your input? They'll work together on it, but it can be sometimes the stock that the host brewery has. And so naturally, if it's like, well, this is the stock and they haven't necessarily got anything malt bill wise, for example, they've not like ordered some specific malt bill in, maybe they're utilizing something that they're using for something else as well. So,
and brewers will have favorite hops that they like to use. They'll have favorite combinations of things that they like to use, so that's going to influence it. So there is going to be breweries have kind of their signature flavors and things, so that is going to influence things. I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
I'm going to ask Baggy Spandex though, under the woman's brew account.
Spandex.
I'm going to go Baggy Spandex. Buster makes me feel good. Tell me about this. I need to know. I'm going to ask that question. But then so I think watch the space for that, because I will report back when I get an answer from Baggy Spandex. But then I found another article. This one, it's older. It's from 4 years ago, and it was called "What Happened to Flagship Beers." It said it used to be that every brewery had a flagship beer they were built on. Now we'll go to a brewery and ask what the flagship beer is, and half the time the bartender or server doesn't even know what I'm asking for. What gives? So,
do you know what I was looking for when we were deciding how we were going to do this episode? Because we got the beers, and then we were like, what are we going to do?
And we went with the approachable thing where you were like, we're like, Joe can do the educational thing, the really useful scientific things. And then I was like, I'll bring the garbage. I will bring the reality TV.
But I was like trying to
You bring the documentaries.
Like, I was looking at like core beers and, variances on core beers. And I was like, do you know what? Certain breweries will be like, this is our flagship beer, and some breweries are just like, this is our core range. So I think it's partly semantics.
I did try to look for some type of I did try to investigate like what brews doing, and I know like we talked when we were talking about it, we were like, oh, and this brew's done it, and I said, oh, like Siren does their suspended in, but then I thought about it and I was like, yeah, but suspended in,
that's like a series.
Is a series. Like, there's no, as far as I know, there's no like core range beer that they're like, okay, cool, from this we've done. Everyone is different with a different hop. It showcases the hop. Yeah.
They did the set of Calypso,
the Calypsos,
because they were taking Calypso out of the core range.
And Calypso is no more. And I know they've done variants of like Luminar and stuff like that for like birthdays and stuff like that, but like it was like, really hard to find that.
Northern Monk's got the Faith range.
But at this point it's like, what, like you've got your normal Faith, but at what point? And I guess one of the questions that sort of came up, I'm going to hold fire on the question that's come up, but just remember that, bank that.
Okay.
But I did put that Reddit post through ChatGPT to kind of say, like, can you summarize some of the quotes that are in it? So I'm just going to be transparent. Like, I went through all the posts and I was just like, what are the ones that kind of sum it up? And I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on some of this as well. So some of the quotes here were, it used to be that every new brewery had a flagship beer they were built on. Now I'll go to a brewery and ask what the flagship is. So that's the main post. And it says, novelty is what sells now, not reliability. People want the new hot thing, not what they can get any time. Short answer is novelty and artificial scarcity plus FOMO. It actually is less about untapped than people think, because the new SKUs introduce risk of harming aggregate ratings. And the last one that's kind of put here is just, I see the new limited time thing and think, well, I can get that anytime, but this one I can only get right now. But there's always a new limited thing, so I never go back to the always available offering. So I think that's probably what I align with most.
Yeah. I do think, though, currently we are seeing breweries refining their core ranges and finding that repeatability, because the economy we're in, the market we're in, it's not necessarily sustainable to have a new beer every week. That's, different. You're changing up your recipe. It means you're changing up your supplies and your ingredients, and it might include more expensive ingredients than your regular run is. And you can, you want to be able to have a sustainable throughput. So, if you've got a decent core range and, you can get it into a pub, you get one of your core beers on to a solid line at a pub, so you've got consistent sending through and consistent buying, then that's solid income. Rather than changing all the time, people don't know if the customers are going to like it. So I think there is a bit of a shift to consistent core ranges, consistent beers, just because of the economic situation that we're in.
I think core ranges kind of have their place, and like in my mind, I think the core ranges,
don't get me wrong,
in my opinion, I think the core range is the main people they serve, and I could be absolutely wrong. I'm not in the industry. They are your local, customers. But I think that's your local that's your more people. Local audience, because I know that, like, I've got, just say, like, Siren and Elusive, because they're in the same estate. They're on my doorstep.
Yep.
Am I ordering those beers to take home or for takeaway? Not necessarily. Sometimes maybe, to, like, if I'm kind of going, I need to make up X amount of order or something like that, I might throw some core ranges in. I'll drink it when I'm there.
Yeah.
If I'm sat there for a while, I'm like, I'll drink through the new stuff first, and then, like, I'll have this, or I'll take one of the interesting ones that I'd like, the one-offs, home, as opposed to taking home the core range. I tend to drink the core range there, take home the more interesting and unique one to have in the time that suits me better. And so I do think, like, that is for your local audience that goes there more regularly, where you might not have as many new things coming out all the time. You might go, actually have a really good core range that people come back for, knowing they'll have some new stuff, and then sit there longer to drink your, like, always available.
Yeah.
So that absolutely makes sense. But I guess in terms of the variation aspect, at what point, so we talk about this with cocktails sometimes, how far do you think a brewery can change their, or make a variation, quote unquote, of their core range beer before it's just nothing like the original beer? So, like, when we're talking about, like, Faith, for example,
not very far.
There's so many variations of Faith, but, like, do you think it hits a point where you go, that's actually not, just call it a different bit? It's like when you have a band that's, like, they've changed the lead singer that everyone knows the voice of. They've changed the guitar. Like, the only one that's left is, like, the bass player, and you're like, why don't you just call yourself a new band? That type of thing.
But also because you're living off of the marketing.
Do you think that factors in quite well then?
Sometimes, because I think people know what to expect from Faith.
True.
Right? People know what to expect.
Just using that as an example. We're not coming for you.
Because it's in my hand. People know what to expect from the consistency of Faith.
True.
You give them, Faith 0, say Faith non-alcoholic, they're going to know what sort of thing they're going in for.
Like, overall tasting profiles, I'm assuming, is what you...
Yeah. And you give,
consistency,
you give them
quality.
Faith, Faith double, or, Big Faith, Little Faith. I can't remember what the ones are called, but, you give them those, there's an expectation that people have got, and that's what they're going to be going into. So they're going to try it because they're like, well, this is what I think it's going to be.
Fair.
So they might be braver, they might be more willing to try that because they've got an idea of what it is, rather than something that's brand new.
That's very valid. And I think with like these Jaipurs though, that like that's very different of the Jaipurs, because I think these are all so different to what the normal is, in the sense of
also,
like you have that same base, but like
these are 20th anniversary specials. So,
absolutely,
this is for a big celebration as well. So that's a draw as well. Like you've got,
true.
there's various different things that lead into why people are buying various different beers.
From your opinion, if you could only pick one, as in like, would you go for a flagship beer? Like, let's say budget was a factor. You could, let's say you've not tried either. Would you go for a core range flagship beer from a particular brewery, or would you go for their variation of their core range flagship? And how would you decide which one to go with? Like, which one would you pick and why?
I like to try all the things. So if I hadn't had the variant, I'd try the variant because I want to try all the things.
If you hadn't had the flagship though, would you still go for that variant?
Depends on what was in the variant.
Does that make a decision for you? Because I think my decision would be I'd probably always go for the variant because of the exact logic that was used in that post, which was like I could always get the core range.
It would depend on what mood I'm in. Like, it would depend on what kind of beer it is. Like, is it an IPA? Is it a stout? Is it, is the new one, has the variant got something exciting in it, or is it a lower ABV? Like, am I looking at, am I out? Am I out? Am I having one beer, but I'm driving, so I need something that's a lower ABV?
Looking at the Jaipurs,
many factors.
This one's also 5.9. As we said, they're all 5.9%. So, like, let's say that you had never had Jaipur before, and you were someplace and you were like, great, they're having this anniversary launch of Jaipur. And they're like, cool, you have your normal, or you can have your hazy, your pink grapefruit, or your collab with Northern Monk, Jaipur Faith. Which one? Say you only had the budget and time to pick one. Not budget-wise, but like, let's just pretend that in some world you could only have one for whatever reason.
There's only one.
Which one? Try to remove the element of you've now tasted them.
Yeah.
Which one would you pick, and why would you pick that?
I would, if I'd never had it, I'd have Jaipur, because I know it's like, it's a bucket list beer. Like, we've determined it's a bucket list beer. If I'd never had it, I'd be like, I want to try that one because it's supposed to be the best one.
I think I would probably go with either the Hazy or the Faith. And I think the reason is because I'd be like, if I'd never tried Jaipur before, I'd be like, oh, I could go and try that later. Exactly what that person called out of like, yeah, I could get that another time, but these ones I might not be able to get another time. I think part of me would go for the Faith because I'd go, I know what Northern Monk Faith is like. I know I like that. I know that's reliable. But then actually, I think I might go with the Hazy because I think I'd feel like the Faith was almost, it would feel safe because I'd be like, I know what to expect from those flavours. The Hazy, I think I'd know what to expect from those flavours, but it might be slightly different. So I think and the fact that the can is, this sounds wild, but if I saw the can, I'd be like, the can's green, it's different. All the rest are like orange based. Right. I'd be like, that's different. I'm going to go with that. So I think I'd pick it because of that. I am a magpie. So yeah, I thought I would ask that question, so that would be really interesting. Now that you've had this for a little bit, any change to the order that you'd pick?
Hazy, pink grapefruit, Jaipur Faith.
Mine's still locked in as Hazy, Faith, normal Jaipur, pink grapefruit. But it's like, for me, the last two, that there's a bit of a, depends on my mood, because those are sort of like tied for third, because it depends on the mood I'm in. If it's really hot and sunny, I'm probably going to go the pink grapefruit if I'm outside. If it's like any other time, probably the normal. So there we go. There you have it. That's everything. That's everything I've got.
Yeah, I think that's it. That was good times. These are like, go and get these, everyone, because they are really good.
If you can still get them by the time this comes out.
I think you can.
I've also got like the dipping sauce for like.
Oh yeah, you bought the dipping sauce.
Yeah, I feel like I want a poppadom and I want to like chuck a poppadom in it. Haven't tried it yet. Haven't opened it yet.
Okay. Watch this
So
space.
watch,
Joey might do a review.
watch this space.
She might
I
do a
won't.
review for a blog.
I won't. No, I'll probably take a photo of it, post a photo of it, and then never use it. And somebody asked me today if I was a person that managed. They saw me on another thing and they said, "Oh,
Yeah.
I think I follow you. Do you manage a beer Instagram?" And I was like, "Yes." And then I had to follow up immediately and go, by manage, that's a loose definition. My initial response was ... yes, and then I hit enter, and then I went back and I went, by manage, that's
Not
a
consistently
loose definition of manage. I repost.
Do I post it?
Podcast things?
Do I post things?
Sometimes.
Yes. Do I do it consistently? No.
Sometimes when normally the consistency is Joe posts a thing and I say, yes, I will share that. So that's that. But if you want to try to find me and the output that I do put out there, sometimes
you need to go to Tori and you need to tell her if you knew busting makes you feel good.
Yes, please. Oh my god, this is the number one thing. Like, please.
This is very important.
I listen to This Paranormal Life if you like anything remotely paranormal, because they are hilarious. And beyond that, it's the fact that I didn't know about that, and it genuinely blew my mind that Joe was like, yeah, everyone knows that.
Everyone knows that.
I didn't. So please let me know, am I the only human being that knew Buster makes me feel good? If you didn't know those lyrics, make me feel good about that. If you already knew them, then let me know, just so I know how many people. So you can find me on Instagram at adventures_in_optimism. You can email me at adventuresinoptimism@gmail.com. You can find me online at the blog that I definitely don't I manage that less than I manage my Instagram account. That's adventures@optimism.com. If you want to find Joe and I both, I don't know, what can they come to? Tell us about if you've tried the dry press. What's your favourite ones? What's the order you'd pick? How would you go about when you have a core range that also has variants? How do you pick which one? Say you can only choose one. What would you choose, a variant or the core range, and why? Let us know at A Woman's Brew on Instagram or Facebook, or you can, if you've got any more examples of really good core ranges we can easily get, as well as variants, email them to us at awomansbrewpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can come, say you want to watch us on YouTube, but you were like, where is your YouTube? You could go to YouTube, or you could find it on our website, which is awomansbrewpod.beer, which is awomansbrewpod.beer. Joe, if people want to like praise you for knowing that, or the fact that you like, if they want like more myth busting
to the Ghostbusters song,
so thoroughly, or like they want more myth busting facts because Buster makes them feel good, where can they contact you?
I mean, I don't know how many more myths I can bust. Like, you know, busting makes me feel good, but I don't know if it makes
not
me feel
great.
Good.
It doesn't make me feel great. It just makes me feel
that feels
fine.
Like a lot of work. But you can come find me. I'm Love Beer Learning on Instagram. I'm on Facebook as well, but you'll mostly find me on Instagram. Or you can come to my website, which is lovebeerlearning.co.uk. Or you can email me, lovebeerlearning@gmail.com. All right, we got 4 beers open.
So many beers to finish. It's a school night. I'm exhausted. It's hot.
Cheers.